I graduated high school in 2019. Some of you might be thinking, oh my God, this guy's so young. What's he going to teach us? He can't teach us anything because I'm ageist. Listen, boomer. Don't think of me as a young buck who doesn't have his head screwed on straight. Think of me as your liaison to Gen Z. I'm very much aware of what's going on. I got my finger on the pulse of my generation. I went to college at a crazy school where everyone hated everybody else. So I know what's going on with people my age. What I noticed a lot, though, especially, after graduating high school, going into college, and even being now out in the real world, a lot of times I see people making simple grammatical errors, as I call them. And these mistakes are piling up, and I think it's indicative of something going on where people are putting less thought into what they're doing, putting less thought into their job, and just kind of going, well, I can do this, I can do that. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, I just need my paycheck. Okay, whatever. I'm here to compile a list and show you what I'm talking about, because you might be thinking, like, Harrison, what? You saw someone, put a comma in the wrong spot. They're not an Oxford comma and you're getting upset. No. I don't mind that. Everyone's entitled to their own use of a comma. I don't know what a semicolon does. But it's simple mistakes that are being made again and again, and I think the lack of people caring about it is a problem because they seem like such small mistakes that it's not worth pointing out. But that's what led to World War II. You know what I mean? So maybe we should stop it before Hitler comes along and tries to kill everybody again. First of all, a thing I've seen again and again, I got a slideshow for you, just of one type of example of these errors, is when people, well, actually, I'll just show it to you. What's wrong with this picture? I'll give you a little bit of context. This is from where I work. We package up products, and we had to package them in quantities of 250. Can you see the problem here? Is it this perchance? I got to be able to point. It's hard backwards. This apostrophe? There's no need for an apostrophe after 250s, or before the S in 250s. 250, plural, is just 250s. Right? You don't need an apostrophe. People are doing this. Have you noticed this? People are using apostrophes to indicate plurals, and it's not correct, and it bothers me. I'll give this one a little bit I'll cut some slack here. It's kind of confusing with numbers. Maybe this guy knows, like, hey, I understand that I'm not supposed to put an apostrophe here, but if I didn't, you might think this is a 5, so I'll just put it there just so you at least kind of clued in that it's a letter. Okay, I'll give you that. I don't believe that that's what you're doing, but I'll give you that. This is just another example of that same thing happening. Although, isn't this weird? I know this seems like such a small thing, but it bothers me. This is a capital letter, lowercase. The X, I don't know if that's capital or lowercase. And then the T is capital. What are you doing? Bills of lading only. Bills, like Buffalo Bills, like, multiple bills, dollar bills, or, report bills, whatever. That doesn't need an apostrophe. The S is fine. In fact, you're putting more effort in by adding that apostrophe. Like I said, I am aware it's small, but you're still burning calories and it's unnecessary. So if you're doing it because you're lazy, you're actually giving yourself more work. This is another one. All supplies in Breezeway. Now, there's a couple of problems here. Did anyone pick up on them? Yes, not just the apostrophe, but plural of supply is supplies, S-U-P-P-L-I-E-S. Not supply with a Y, apostrophe S. That's incorrect. That's supplising. No, you're an idiot. This one's a little cropped, but this is a card game I saw. Someone wrote cards and card games. Well, cards is just cards. You didn't do games with an apostrophe, so why'd you do cards with an apostrophe? Am I right? Isn't that stupid? Here's another one. Bullet overflow boxes. At least this one saves time. Hey, I'm not going to write an ES. I'll just write an apostrophe S. I'm not here to save time. I'm here to be right. All right. And lastly, I think paint and brushes. Just confusing. Brush ES. Is it that hard? I think that's it. We'll go back to this part. So there's just the photo examples I have of that particular phenomenon happening. Have you guys noticed that that's happening more and more? People using the apostrophe instead of just the correct spelling of the word. I don't know if this is because people are not used to reading, so they're not used to what it looks like to spell something correctly. They just know how it's pronounced, and it doesn't. You still pronounce those words the same way, so they can't be wrong. I don't know. A lot of people use that as a way to get by being lazy with language. Like, well, I don't have to say things correctly because as long as you understand what I mean, that's all that matters. Yeah, to an extent, if you're, talking to your best friend about what kind of Pokemon cards just came out. But if you're an air traffic controller, I hope you understand the difference between screwing around with your buddy, lollygagging around town, ding-dong ditching, or trying to land a plane safely. And if you can acknowledge the difference between those two, then you're being stupid and lazy by not going out of your way to just do it correctly. Let's crack open in Arizona. Real quick. Have a drink on me, everybody. What's another thing people are doing a lot? Because it doesn't just stop with the apostrophe S for the plurals. You know what people are doing a lot? They're saying, hey, I want to go out to the store. Oh, I bought a new computer. How much did that computer cost you? It cost me $1,000. And they write it like that with the dollar sign on the wrong side of the number. And it really bugs me. Of course, if you see that and you don't think it looks weird, that's what it's supposed to look like. I hate commas so much, by the way, I don't even put them in my numbers. Also, how come years don't have commas? Like, you would never say it's the year 2024 and write it down 2,024. But we should, to be grammatically correct. But a lot of people are doing that now, sorry. Putting the dollar sign on the wrong side of the number. I looked it up on Reddit just to see if other people are noticing that this is happening, and I only get my news from Reddit. And a lot of people responded, actually, giving their 2 cents as to why. And the thing that came up again and again is, it's because it's $1,000, not $1,000. So you should put the 1,000 and then the dollar sign. Okay, so if you like to wear clothes, I hope you don't have any designs on them, because the whole point of clothes is just to keep you warm, you know what I mean? It's not to show off your new favorite band, right? So if you think that would be stupid, Harrison, of course I want to be able to show off my new favorite band, well then put the dollar sign on the right side, because just because something's not necessarily practical doesn't mean we should get rid of it. I like beauty, and the number sign in front of the number is beautiful to me. Right? It just is the word. It's like the same thing you're saying earlier, or that I was saying about you, my nice straw man argument about like, hey, as long as the idea gets across, what's it matter? When you write the 1,000 or the dollar symbol and then the number 1,000 or whatever number, yeah, you know not to read it as dollars thousand. You know, though, when the dollar symbol's in front of a number, that's a word on its own, which means 1,000. You know how to read. The letter Z has nothing to do with the sound Z. It's just a symbol we made that represents that letter. Same thing with the dollar sign. It doesn't matter if it's before the number, because when you use it, it clues you in to go, oh, okay, we're talking about money here. We're talking about money here. Sorry, I don't know why I pronounced that money. Maniacal. I'm getting ludicrous here or something. What else do I write? Another thing people said to defend themselves with the whole dollar sign thing is, oh, well, I know it's the wrong way, but sometimes I'll write the number and then forget, so I put the dollar sign after just to, because I forgot. If you're handwriting notes and you're doing it wrong, how close together are the words you're writing that you have to squeeze in the dollar sign after the number? You know what I mean? And I don't believe you they'd be doing it by hand, because everyone types on the computer now, take all their notes. And if you're typing on the computer and you forget to add in the dollar sign, so you put it after, you actually have no excuse, because it's digital. You can literally write whatever you want, even bad words on the computer. There's no rules against it. You have nothing but opportunity at your fingertips to put the dollar sign wherever it belongs. And it only belongs in one spot. I'm taking sips of tea here so that you guys can have a break from me screaming at you, making fun of how stupid you are. People, a small one I've noticed is people have been saying, taking the contraction could've, which means could have, and writing it out as could of. Same thing, it's because they don't know how to read, so they just hear could've, and then when they think of being professional, and say, oh, I'm gonna write an essay here, so I won't use apostrophes, I'll use the full word. They go out of their way to do it. And then they write of. Are you stupid? You are stupid. All right, this is seriously first grade stuff. Like, I hope no one's going, that's just the younger generation. This is bad. This is actually bad, that there's countless examples of people just not even knowing how to write words. And 20 years from now, they are going to be air traffic controllers. And if you go, no, they're not going to be air traffic controllers. Okay, then who is? Who is going to be an air traffic controller? Because if all we're going to have is stupid people that are, they're qualified enough to work at McDonald's. Okay, well, I'm glad that McDonald's will be around in 25 years. I need to be able to fly somewhere, and all we have is idiots. A small one that people mistake is they say, oh, geez, the other day I was up so late, it was like 3 a.m. in the morning. It's one or the other. Is it 3 a.m. or 3 in the morning? I don't need to hear both. Oh, is it the ATM machine? I'll kill you. Schools used to be hard, and it was worth it, I guess is my point. I think what happened recently that's really caused this downward spiral of our generation is schools allowing people to wear hats. When I was growing up as a young chap in the early 2000s, you weren't allowed to wearing a hat to school was unthinkable. And you might be thinking, okay, what is it because was it gang affiliated and schools didn't want people to wear hats? I don't care. I don't think so. I don't think, at least the high school I grew up in, we weren't concerned about gangs, but it was just a tradition, and it was respectful to not wear a hat in school. That was just the rule. And now, the high school I graduated from, a couple years after I graduated, they changed it to where now kids can wear hats in schools. You might be thinking, Harrison, what's the big deal? Of course, I don't care if a kid wears a hat. But I think schools are so terrified of the early 1900s and hearing about the corporal punishment in schools used to beat kids up. Did you know that? And then schools got so terrified of even yelling at a kid. Fine. But now they're going out of their way to completely coddling the kids instead of just saying, look, it's a given. Let's not hit the kids. It should have ended there, but it didn't end there. Now the schools are going out of their ways to go, okay, you can wear whatever you want. We have no dress code. You can wear this hat. And just, as long as you feel super comfortable when you come in here, let's put learning to the back burner. It's just acknowledging that learning is now not the forefront of what school is. It's like making sure that, oh, well, the hat makes no difference. Like, if they banned long sleeve sweatshirts or hoodies, that would be crazy. What happens when it's cold? You're going to make the kids suffer? There's no point of a hat other than just as a decoration, right? Maybe other than like a winter hat, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about baseball hats. There's no point to wearing a baseball hat other than showing off how you feel about something. What's that word? Don't know the word. I hate hats so much I don't even know that word. But that's my point, is schools are now putting learning to the back burner and not replacing it with anything better. They're replacing it with making sure kids just look cool in school. You don't need to do that. And it's not like, oh, well, if I don't get to wear my Eagles hat, how would people know I like the Eagles? First of all, no one gives a shit that you like the Eagles. Second of all, if you like the same bands as somebody and you think the same people are fat, that's going to naturally come up. I don't need to wear a shirt that says, I hate fat chicks. Everyone just knows after a couple of my conversations when I point and laugh at them in the hallway and say, hey, maybe you should get a move on. Where are you going? Gym class? Psych. Maybe the slim gym class. Oh, what machines you use in the gym? The vending machine. I mean, after that kind of rapport I have in school, everyone's high-fiving me. I don't need to wear a hat that says I hate fatties. Everyone just gets the idea, all right? So I think hats in school is actually a big problem because it's leading to this taking learning and putting it to the back burner, and that's leading people to not know where the dollar sign goes and not know what a plural is and not know that 3 a.m. and 3 in the morning mean the exact same thing and not knowing that it means could have instead of could have. And it makes me so angry that whatever this swear word means in a comic book, that's what I'm thinking every time it happens. And guess what, boomers? It's mostly your fault.